What are you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. It's the first of the month. Can you believe it? That's a bit on a show I watched the other day of people endlessly saying, it's the first of the month. Can you believe it? It's August 1st, and this day in Manchester history, in greater Manchester history, should I say, 1849. What happened in 1849 on this day in history? Well, the Manchester South Junction and Altrincham Railway, the south part of it. Let me skip over to the photos here. The Here we go. The Manchester South Junction and Altrincham Railway. So the portion over Oxford Road, London Road, that part of the railway opened on this day in history. The railway opened in 1849, and that portion of it opened this day in history. So that's just a little this day in history. It's something I started to do, this day in history videos, but people didn't see them or weren't interested in them or whatever the case may be. But I mean, that was the thing that really got me with history in school. The thing that really catches you is your own history. And when we started learning about our own history in school, I think it was like grade 4 or grade 5. And unfortunately, they don't teach local history in schools nowadays. It's a shame. My children didn't learn anything about local history, and that's a real shame. It's a real shame because when you learn about things that, you know, I know that place, I know that place, I was there. It means more to you. You can relate to it more, and that's what history is all about. It's our past, isn't it? It's uh, it's our uh, it's our everything. It's what makes us who we are, and we don't appreciate our history enough, I find. But we do here at Wicked Acorn, and the Manchester South Junction and Altrincham Railway really plays into what we're going to look at today, the Ryder Cup. Well, we're not going to look at the Ryder Cup as such. We're going to look at the man behind the Ryder Cup. The man behind the Ryder Cup is Samuel Ryder, and he started a seed empire. He started selling seed packets, and his father kind of invented the seed packet, and we talked about that yesterday. And his family moved to Sale in 1861 when young Samuel Ryder, the guy that started the Ryder Cup, the famous golf trophy, golf tournament, he moved here when he was 3 and lived here for the better part of his life. He lived here for 30 years. So the formative years of his life were spent in Sale. And something that I didn't cover in this video, and I apologize, I had to cut the video into a bunch of clips because it's like 40 minutes long, and I can't put long clips in the good morning, Rick. I'm responding to comments. When I start saying things completely out of context, I'm responding to comments here. Rick is at work. Okay, Rick, hang in there as long as you can. Um, the Ryder Cup was started by Sam Ryder, and he spent his formative years here in Sale. And the video that I put on here, I had to chop it up because my archaic computer equipment just can't handle having long clips in it and whatnot. Uh, anyway, I won't tell you about my woes as much as I want to. I want to tell you all my problems with my computer gear, but I'm not going to. Uh, one thing that's not in this video is School Road. School Road was an important part of Sam Ryder's life here in Sale. He was a Methodist, Wesleyan, is that Methodist? Um, so he went to the Wesleyan Chapel on School Road. It's no longer there. I'm going to show you some photos of it because we didn't talk about this in the video. I was at the dentist and I was sitting on a bench right in front of uh, Boots, and that's where the chapel was on School Road. So I'll just show you a few pictures here of the chapel and tell you a little bit about the. So there's the chapel, and that's a view of it. That's the only view of that one. So that road is the one that leads into the square now, into Stanley Square. That road you see with the guy on the ladder there. And all these photos are from the early 1900s. So the the Wesleyan Chapel on School Road was Samuel Ryder Senior was a preacher there. He was a gardener by trade, but he was a preacher at the chapel. And here's the view you see most often. That's the front of the building. It's quite a lovely building. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a far cry from Boots, what Boots looks like today, isn't it? Another view a little further back. So yeah, I think that first photo we looked at, the road you see going down the left-hand side of the chapel is the one that goes into Stanley Square. When Samuel Ryder Juniour turned 17, he became a preacher at this chapel on School Road. Now take note of the gates there. There's another photo at the end looking the other way. The gates are like the chapel is not in the photo, but we get to see School Road as it would have looked in this time. Yeah, when he turned 17, he was a preacher himself. And there's another view. Yeah, there's School Road. You can just see the chapel there on the left. Very, very different, isn't it? It looks so different. Doesn't look like that these days. And of course, it was pedestrianized not that long ago. There you go. That was evidence of it being a vehicular road. So there you go. There's the view I was talking about down School Road. You can see the gates in front of the chapel there. Yeah, he was. So Sam Ryder was a preacher at the Wesleyan Chapel there on School Road. And one of the things, so his early life, there's not a lot about his early life covered in the book because in his biography. And the information must be out there somewhere because the author refers to a lot of things, but he kind of just glazes over the early life because, you know, Sam Ryder is famous for the Ryder Cup, and, you know, they just do very little on his early life. They leave Sale quite early in the book and go to St. Albans, where Samuel Ryder really got his seed business underway. But his seed business was started by his father here in Sale, and it was brought to St. Albans, and then it became a much bigger, successful place. And as I said, they just glaze over this bit of his history, but they mention little tidbits. This school is the I don't know how you say it here. It's just a regular school that regular people would go to I'd call it a public school, but that means something different here. So that's where the regular people would go to school. So Sam Ryder didn't go to school here. That's just down. Apparently, that building is still there. I haven't gone to see which building it is, but apparently it's still there, according to the Trafford site where I got this photo. So that building is still there apparently. And he didn't go to school there. He went to um, what I would call a private school. And I'm not sure what school that is. I kind of think it might be Springfield, but that's just a guess. Anyway, he didn't go to school here, but what he did do here was he was involved in the Magic Lantern Society. And I think what they did was, let's see here now. Okay, there we go. So it would have been before electricity, I guess. And I guess they used a lantern to project slides on something, on the wall, on something, on a screen. And it was called the Magic Lantern Society, and he was involved in that. And I came across this other story about a rather lurid tale involves an association between the school and Charlie Peace, a cat burglar hanged in 1879 for killing a policeman who tried to apprehend him in the act of burglary. An old pupil writing in the 1920s recalled Charlie giving violin lessons or a lantern slideshow in the school. So that kind of ties back to the Magic Lantern Society. So he must have also been involved in the Magic Lantern Society, this Charlie Peace character. But that's an interesting little tidbit of Sale history as well, isn't it? 1879, so that would have been in Ryder's time. He would have been in his teens there. So he would probably have known this Charlie Peace character, no doubt, both being involved in the Magic Lantern Society and at the school there on School Road. So that was something that's not covered in this little reconnaissance video that we do. So I'm going to get the reconnaissance video going. It's time for me to get at my mosaics here. That's what I do. I come down here every morning and I work away at something, and I'm going to put my mosaic here. And I don't get a lot done each day, but I do a little bit every day. And don't get upset, there's a United one as well. I have no allegiance. I just make mosaics. Football's not my thing. So we'll get the video going, and I'll start my work on the mosaic here. And we shall see what happens. Okay, I have to mute the microphone. I haven't done this seamlessly yet. It takes me a little time. I got to set up some hotkeys and stuff. But anyway, I won't bore you with those details. Okay, just give me a second. So we're just here by Waterside Arts in the Robert Bolt Theatre. Robert Bolt is another famous resident of Sale. Done videos about these people. Robert Bolt was a playwright. Wrote A Man for All Seasons and all kinds. The most recent thing you'd know him for is the Bounty with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins. This is Sale Station here, so the Ryder family would have arrived here, I don't remember the date, late 1800s. They would have arrived here at the Sale Station, and it looked very much the same as it does today. A few changes. And this is Britannia Road, so I'm going to have to head down there and check out the place of their garden. So yeah, this would have been a spot where Robert Bolt just lived here on Northenden Road, and they weren't contemporaries, of course. Robert Bolt was here in the 30s, I think it was, and Ryder had moved on by that time. Anyway, he had a massive seed industry, and yeah, it all started here in Sale. It's kind of freaky, isn't it? It's the guy who invented the seed packet was from Sale. Now this isn't I just want to pause it there. It looks like the audio is getting a bit out of sync. Again, my computer is getting overloaded here. Actual real one. I couldn't find an actual real Ryder and Sons Sale, Manchester seed packet of Ryder and Sons. There are several of Ryder and Sons. I think it was Ryder and Sons. We're right here, just next to the B&M here now, for those of you that know Sale, and the leisure center. And I'm sure a lot of people have noticed this house before. You know, I did. I've noticed this house many, many times. And I don't know why, but it always stood out to me. And I just recently found out about this Samuel Ryder story and his connection to Sale. And yeah, this is not an actual one. It's one I made up for this video. And this is the family home here. It's a house called Stowey, and we're on Wharf Road, just across from the leisure center. So this was their home, the Ryder home. I don't know if it says Stowey on it anywhere, but I noticed this house, building, hotel, whatever it is, many times, because I used to walk my kids to school down this road, and it's whatever it is nowadays. And so yeah, this was the Ryder family home. Isn't that neat? The guy who started the seed packet. Yeah, the Shakers invented it pretty much at the same time as the Ryders did here in Sale. Because yeah, you could only get, you know, a giant sack of begonia seeds at the time. And I guess, you know, you'd go to the general store or whatever, and if the guy was nice enough, he would cut you out a few seeds for your own garden. So yeah, this is the this is the Ryder family home, where the seed packet was invented. And it's called Stowe after Samuel Ryder's mother's hometown. And I don't recall where that is. Maybe Editor Ma'am will show you where it is. I've looked all these things up, but I've forgotten them, and I haven't made this video yet, so I haven't ingrained these things into my brain. But yeah, there we go. Now I'm pretty sure the Royal Mail wasn't across from their house back in the day. Royal Mail Depot or whatever this is. There's Stowe right there. And I was talking about the all the transport connections. They would have liked to have had this across the road back in the day. So we'll just take a look down here around the back. Their original house was down Wharf Road here somewhere. The house isn't here anymore. It's been torn down. But the original house they lived in, actually the first house they lived in was up on Washway Road somewhere, I think. And then they moved down this way. And as I was saying, the allotments were across the tracks here somewhere. So that I guess their house, their first house on Wharf Road was down this way. No, I can't see what you're seeing there now, but I think that's the railway line there. So they would have to, and the land that their garden and allotments, or whatever you would call it back in the day, their market gardening garden, was between the tracks and the canal, which is an odd place for it to be. I don't think there's any way to get across easily back then other than walk across the tracks, which I guess you could do back in the day. You can't do that anymore. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm going to have to consult the maps and come back again. I hadn't planned on visiting this today. Does anybody remember that? Could you ever, were the tracks open, accessible? Could you just walk across the tracks anywhere back in the day, or back in your day? Anybody remember being able to do such a thing? When I grew up in a we don't say railway, we say railroad, and it's another little interesting lexical divergence. Yeah, I grew up in a railway town, and the railway was, I mean, we'd be down climbing around on boxcars and jumping off boxcars in the snow banks and catching rides on the train. It was a great bit of fun. It was a big part of our life growing up. But yeah, there was no, you could get on the railway wherever you liked. But it seems like, I think it's even illegal to go on the railway, isn't it? Anyway, leave a comment if you know anything about that. I just had to go get that seed stuck out of stuck in my tooth. Get that washed out. I'm only joking. Uh, yeah, isn't that fascinating though? I find that fascinating that they had to, yeah, you know, like everything had to be invented, even the humble seed packet, and it, you know, made Samuel Ryder a lot of money. So much money, he, you know, started a golf tournament and has one of the probably the most famous golf trophy in the world named after him. Well, he started the Ryder Cup, and for those of you that don't know, it started as the U.S. versus Britain, but over the years, I mean, because the U.S., the States as we call it, America as they call it here, America is so much bigger than Britain that the competition was just out of balance, so it became Europe versus America. But originally it was the US versus Britain. And yeah, so probably the most famous golf trophy named after a guy who grew up here in Sale, in Greater Manchester. And that's, you know, on the seed packet it says Sale, Manchester. And that is, I found copies of gardening manuals that Samuel Ryder Juniour wrote while he lived here in Sale. And that's what it says on the bottom, on the cover of the book, the little gardening manual. What was it? Begonias, I think, was his thing. He was really into begonias or petunias, or I don't remember. You'll find out all this in the proper video. This is just a reconnaissance video. But he put out several gardening manuals, like little pamphlets. And on the bottom it said Ryder and Sons, Sale, Manchester. Remember to turn on the microphone, Paul. I got to make a hotkey for that. That's on my list of things to do today. There's there's only so many little improvements I can make each day, and I've hit my limit. There's so many things to remember, but it's a lot of fun learning how to do it as well. So, you know, tell your friends that we're on here every morning at 11 so far, and there's plenty of normal production style videos that we do here, but I'm just doing this as because I come down here every morning and waste time watching videos, working on my mosaics for an hour or so, and it's, again, I really wanted to react to other people's videos, like the towns the towns that built Britain, or whatever it's called. The one Alice Roberts did, I'm sure people that follow this channel have probably seen it. But I wanted to talk about that video, and I almost got a copyright strike. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's um, this whole copyright thing has got to change, man. I actually got a copyright claim. Copyright claims happen all the time on YouTube. It's so much so that I've almost just stopped using music altogether, because it's people just claim music that they don't even own. The very first video I did was a time lapse of me making a Manchester bee mosaic, and I put um, Flight of the Bumblebee. Uh, who wrote that? I don't know. You know, that classical music piece, and it's long gone. That song is long gone out of copyright. You know, the guy, whatever it is, like 50, 75 years after the artist dies, it goes into the public domain. Furthermore, it was um, performed by the United States Naval Band or some such thing. And that also makes it, you can't copyright that because it's a government agency, I guess. It can't be copyrighted. Somebody claimed it. And this is what people do, they just make copyright claims on stuff, and that's it. That's the end of it. YouTube sends you a notification that there's a copyright claim on your video, and so you can respond to it, but it's only between you and the person making the claim. YouTube has nothing to do with it. So I write back saying, no, man, this is you can't claim this. This is in the public domain. And that person just rejects it, and that's the end of it. So I could claim, you know, if somebody puts out a video about the Beatles' White Album, I could make a copyright claim on that video saying I own the copyright to that stuff, and YouTube will send them a copyright claim notice, and that person can say, no, boy, you don't own the copyrights to that. And I can write back to them saying, yeah, I do. Too bad for you. And that's the end of it. That's the end of it. It's absolutely shocking. It's really something that's got to change. Anyway, that stuff is probably not of any interest to you, but it's terrible because there are so many of these reaction video channels out there. I mean, I watch a lot of political debate stuff, and I mean that's all. 90% of it is somebody reacting to what somebody else said. You know, you've seen these things, I'm sure, right? And it's I go and do it to add my 2 cents. Do you have that saying here? Add my 2 cents that on somebody's video about Manchester. It's transformative. It's educational. It's adding new information, and I'm not putting the video on there to replace it so you can sit down and anyway. It's a real drag. That's what I want it to do. I want it to come down here and react to other people's videos. I'll try and figure out how to do it. Don't know what's going to happen, but I've ranted enough for this morning. So I guess all we can do is pick it up again on Monday, and we'll see some more of the Ryder world. Down Britannia Road, I go down Britannia Road and check out where the allotments were in the next one, I think. Okay, we'll see you in the next one.